I had 3 days to get ready for an Idaho backcountry bear hunt. Could I trust a copper bullet I'd never hunted with? Guy Miner here. I'm up in the Magruder corridor in Idaho, hunting with Cameron Outfitters and watching my bear bait right now. Saw one hour and a half, maybe hour and 45 minutes ago while we were riding in on the mules. There he goes. Maybe I'm getting a bear. Guy Miner here from UltimateReloader.com. I had 3 days to get ready for this backcountry Idaho bear hunt. What did I need to do to get ready? I needed a rifle, an optic, and some ammo. What did I have that was going to do the job at 400 yards, potentially on a big heavy target, maybe not on such a big heavy target? I had to get good expansion. What kind of bullet did I have ready to do that? I had to get good penetration, and it had to be an accurate load in case I needed to take that 400-yard shot. What did I have available to do that? And more importantly, what do you have available to do that on short notice without many range trips and load development? So my choice of rifle was no big surprise. It's my good old reliable Remington 700 30-06 with a 6-power loophole on top. What I wanted to try this time was, instead of my usual 165 grain lead core bullet, I wanted to go with copper and see how that would perform. I had a lot of questions in my mind as I hadn't hunted with these particular bullets before. Was it going to expand? Was it going to penetrate sufficiently? Was it going to be accurate enough for a long-range shot if I had to take a shot out there at 400 yards? Those were all questions I had going in. And you might have those same questions. What do you have ready to go if you want to do a short notice hunt like this? So over the decades, I've had an awful lot of success with lead core bullets. Why would I step away from that? And the reasons are actually out there trying to do a better job. Lead core is good. If you choose the right lead core bullet for the application, they're going to do a really good job for you. However, they have some cons, not just pros. They can overexpand. That can lead to failure to penetrate enough. They can fragment, meaning the bullet mass may not reach the vitals, and it can also leave an awful lot of lead in your meat. I like to eat most of the animals that I shoot, so that becomes an issue for me. When you go to a copper alloy bullet, you typically wind up with some really good pros. Very deep penetration, excellent weight retention on the bullet that keeps it driving forward. Those are good things, and you're not going to shed off any little pieces of lead because there isn't any lead to worry about. The biggest con that I find with the all copper bullets is that they can have a lack of expansion when the velocity drops too much. So at longer ranges, or for some slower cartridges, they may not be the right choice. So despite all the success I've had over the years with traditional lead core bullets, I've also had some disappointments. I've had some bullets that didn't penetrate enough, and that was because they overexpanded, fragmented a little bit, didn't retain much mass of bullet to keep punching on in there. Had a couple there that I didn't really like the results on. So what can we do about that? We can turn to a copper alloy bullet. And who's making a really good line of copper alloy bullets all the way from 224 up to 375? Let's take a look at the Hornady CX line of all copper bullets. Hornady's line of CX bullets is made of a copper alloy that's a little bit harder than pure copper. They've incorporated their exclusive heat shield tip, and they've revised the grooves on this bullet to give it a higher BC. They are not just a good bullet for if you're required to use a lead-free bullet, but they're a good, non-traditional choice for game, particularly larger game. So what I'm looking for in my big game loads for my 30-06 is a flat trajectory, excellent accuracy, and good performance on big game. The CX gives me a pretty high BC for that middleweight cartridge of .440. I can get a muzzle velocity up close to 2,900 or even beyond with some powders. And we combine a decent BC with a good muzzle velocity, that gives you that flat trajectory, making hits good, easy at 300, 350, 400 yards even out of a rifle like this. I've done it several times. And that much bullet in a tough enough bullet can handle big game up to 1,500 pounds, which is what the CX is rated for. That covers pretty much everything in North America. Let's take a look at Hornady's drop chart for this 165 grain CX. What you see is I had it zeroed for 100 yards for this. Normally I may zero it farther out than that, but this time 100 yards because I'm expecting most likely to have a short range shot. It's only dropping about 12 inches at 300 yards and a little over 2 feet all the way out there at 400 yards. I can deal with that. 400 is about my max with this load because that's still over 2,000 feet per second impact velocity, which is what Hornady recommends as a minimum impact velocity for proper expansion of this bullet. So this was an important hunt to me. I had to travel all the way to Idaho to make it happen, had a lot invested in this kind of a hunt because of the time invested and the effort. Why was I going with a bullet I had not yet hunted with? Because we tested it earlier. Not the exact same bullet. 2 years ago, we took a hard look at the 150 grain 7mm CX, and we slammed it into the gel blocks at 2 different velocities, 3,200 and 2,800 feet per second, and got what I thought were some outstanding results. Looking at the 2,800 foot per second version, which is much more like my 30-06's muzzle velocity, we had 100% weight retention, we had 30.5 inches of penetration, and we got 0.539 inches of expansion, almost double its original diameter. So I got my expansion, I got my penetration, I was real happy with that, and the bullets just looked really, really good afterwards. I thought, that's a bullet I want to try in the hunting fields. So I had some ammo I had loaded 2 years earlier for Africa, just sitting there. And I had liked that ammo, it had a lot of good attributes, but I knew that I wasn't getting the true accuracy out of it that it could deliver, that this bullet could deliver. I got on the horn with Seth at Hornady, and he coached me a little bit, and he told me that they like to seat those bullets 50 thou off the lands. So I went ahead and made sure that I had done that. I adjusted my loads accordingly, and boy was I pleased with the results I saw on target. So that load consisted of the 165 grain Hornady CX, of course, and I turned to my old favorite H4350, which is a great powder for the 30-06, used a standard CCI 200 large rifle primer, and I was getting 2,863 feet per second with a really tight SD of 5 feet per second, which is outstanding for a 30-06 hunting cartridge. So I really appreciated getting that phone call from Gary at Cameron Outfitters telling me that he had an opening for his backcountry bear camp. That was great. I really like the folks at Cameron. They have a family-owned and family-operated business. Just about everybody there is a family member, and you can tell it. It's friendly, it's nice, and they run a good camp. Some of my favorite people, this is a little silly, there's Gary in blue on the mule. The mule is Roscoe. I rode him for 3 days. That was interesting. And Sam the dog, Sam's there to find downed game. This country has really, really thick undergrowth, and once that game is shot, if it runs off at all, it gets pretty tough to find. Sam comes in handy for that. He's got a good nose, and he's a good guy to pal around with anyway. Spent a lot of time out in the hunting blind. We'd ride the mules close to the hunting blinds and then go in quietly on foot and settle in for the rest of the day or however long we were going to be there. Had cool, rainy weather. That kept me bundled up pretty good. It was like a wildlife show out there. All day long I had whitetail does and bucks coming in and hanging around the bait pile. They like the bait too, not just bears. That was pretty doggone neat. And one afternoon I had a large bull elk pass 20 yards in front of me, and then he wandered over to the bait pile and helped himself too. He looked like he's probably going to be a 5x5 this fall. I'm keeping that in mind. Finally, I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention. I'd kind of let my attention drift. Finally, all of a sudden, there was a bear on the bait. And boy, did I get interested in a hurry. That got my attention. Well, it's Saturday evening. It's about 20 after 8. And shot a bear. Not sure where he is. Took off running at the shot. We gotta go find him now. Things sure got exciting in a hurry. Turns out it was not a big bear. I've shot big bears, I've shot medium bears, looks like now I've shot a small bear too. What can I say? That's all right though. That usually gives you some really good meat, good eating, and I'm fine with that. It's a bear. I'm happy with that. This is, I don't know, probably on the low end, 100, 150 pound bears is what they expect in this area. And I think I might have made 100 pounds, 90 pounds maybe, I'm not sure. It wasn't a very big bear. Broadside shot, complete penetration, and I have to admit I was very, very impressed. The exit wound from that CX was about 1.5 inches diameter. That tells me that even on a smallish animal like the size of maybe a white-tailed deer, I'm getting expansion. I'm getting plenty of expansion. Very, very quickly lethal. That bear took off on a dead run, vanished into the brush. I could hear it for a moment or two and then nothing more. And sure enough, wait till Sam the dog gets up there, and he is scenting it as soon as he gets to the area of my blind. We go down the hill a few yards and there's the bear piled up. Simply not a problem to find. The meat looks absolutely delicious. I haven't had any yet, but it looks absolutely delicious. Nice, clean, young bear. So I was under some pressure to get ready for this hunt in 3 days, and I was asking myself, can I trust this copper bullet that I've never hunted with before on what to me was a pretty important hunt? And I think we've answered that at this point. I've got a good load, and the Hornady CX did a great job for me. Obviously, it was accurate at the target range, and then it handled this smaller, lighter bear very, very nicely. Looking at the penetration we've seen in the gel blocks and the penetration right through that bear, I have absolutely no worry about this bullet being able to handle any kind of big game I'm likely to come across. It's nice that I've been able to ditch my old lead core bullets. I don't have to use those anymore, and I have decided that this particular load is going to be my standard go-to load for my standard go-to hunting rifle now. Cameron Outfitters put on a good hunt, and I thoroughly enjoyed once again. I'll be back. What I want to know is, are you hunting with any of these all copper bullets, whether it's a CX or something else? How well is it working out for you? What cartridge are you using it in? Drop a comment and we'll have a discussion.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. If you're interested in custom rifles like what we build here on the channel or gunsmithing services, you're going to want to go to rifles.ultimatereloader.com and get on the wait list. If you want to learn lucrative gunsmithing like what I show here on the channel, including building custom rifles and Cerakote plus a whole bunch more, you're going to want to check out the Colorado School of Trades, schooloftrades.edu. Thanks again for watching.